This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
And good day, I'm Elena Rusk. An elderly man is under arrest after a hit-and-run crash severely injured a child in Northwest Bakersfield. Officers called out to Brimhall Road near Jewetta Avenue Saturday night for reports of a car hitting a pedestrian and then speeding away. When they arrived, they found an 11-year-old girl in the road with major injuries. She was reportedly crossing the street with her 4-year-old sibling at the time of the crash. Emergency crews rushed both to a local hospital. Police say they tracked down that suspected hit-and-run driver later that night, identifying the man as 79-year-old Danjibai Patel. He was booked into the Kern County Jail for felony hit-and-run, but court records show he is no longer in custody. We will update this story as we learn more. And we have learned the name of a child who died last week. The coroner's office says 4-year-old Dilrag Singh was the child killed after police report the boy fell out of a family sedan and was run over. It happened about 7:45 p.m. Wednesday night at a home on Seasons Drive off Panama Lane and Ash Road. The boy taken to Kern Medical but later died. The investigation into this accident continues. Anyone with information is asked to call the BPD at 327-7111. Now to our homicide tracker. We have learned the name of the victim in a deadly shooting in Southwest Bakersfield last week. Deputies called to Fishering Drive near Stein Road Friday night, and when they got there, they found a man suffering from at least one gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. That victim identified by the coroner's office as 30-year-old Tramwell Shotwell. It is unclear what led up to the shooting, and no suspect information is available. If you know anything about this investigation, you're asked to call the sheriff's office at 861-3110, or you can stay anonymous and call the Kern Secret Witness line at 322-4040. And a man is in jail on suspicion of murder following another deadly shooting late Friday night, this one on Brundage Lane. It happened just before midnight there near T Street. A man found suffering from several gunshot wounds and pronounced dead at the scene. Police officials said investigators were able to link 25-year-old Elliot Moore to the shooting, and he was booked to the Kern County Jail on Saturday morning on one count of murder. He is due in court tomorrow, according to county inmate records. Anyone with further information on this shooting asked to call again the BPD, 327-7111. Now to your 17 Court Watch. Matthew Queen scheduled to face a judge for sentencing tomorrow. He was acquitted of first-degree murder last month and instead convicted of the lesser charge of second-degree murder in the death of Bakersfield 3 member Michael Holsenbake. Prosecutors alleged Queen and ex-girlfriend Bailey Despot tortured and murdered Holsenbake in late March of 2018, then dismembered him and disposed of pieces of his body throughout Kern County. Despot disappeared shortly after Holsenbake went missing. Queen was also convicted on most of the firearm-related offenses contained in the 35 charges filed against him. He faces decades, if not life, in prison. Happening today, it was 78 years ago on this date, the United States and our allies stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, in a battle that ultimately led to the defeat of Hitler and his troops. 9,387 Americans did not come home. Thousands of people expected to attend ceremonies at the American Cemetery overlooking Omaha Beach, one of 5 Allied landing beaches along Normandy that day, with Americans landing at Omaha and Utah, while the British, Canadians, and other allies landed at nearby beaches. Dozens of U.S. veterans will also be present for the remembrance ceremonies today. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy has identified a fighter jet pilot killed in a training flight near Trona on Friday. The FA-18E Super Hornet pilot identified as Lieutenant Richard Bullock. He was assigned to the Strike Fighter Squadron 113 out of Naval Air Station in Lemoore. Officials said Bullock was flying a routine training mission when his jet went down around 2:30 in the afternoon. No other injuries reported. The cause of this crash remains under investigation, and military officials said recovery efforts are still ongoing at that crash site.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our Comprehensive Care Center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
17 News is your local election headquarters. Tomorrow, Kern County will flock to the polls to determine which candidates will appear on November's general election ballot. And so far, more than 47,000 mail-in ballots have been received. Coming up tonight at 5, KGT's political reporter Maddie Gannon will have a breakdown of some key political races, as well as an effect of redistricting on Kern County and the implications it has for this midterm. And if you haven't voted yet and still need to research the candidates, we've compiled a detailed list of information that you need to know before you cast your ballot. Just head over to our website, kget.com, and under the News tab, you can click on Election Connection. You can also watch all of our hosted debates there. Now, if you are dropping off your ballot today or heading in person to the polls tomorrow, you'll need to keep a few things in mind now that every Kern County voter has received a mail ballot. If you are using that mail ballot, whether you're mailing it back in or dropping it at a drop box, make sure you have signed the back of the envelope. If you plan on heading to the polls in person tomorrow, bring that mailed ballot with you and surrender it at the polling place. Otherwise, you may have to vote provisionally, meaning your vote will still get counted, but it's a longer and more complicated process. Unlike the last few elections, drive-through ballot drop-offs will not be an option this year. Polls open tomorrow at 7 a.m. Now make sure to join us online tonight at 7:30 p.m. for a live Q&A session with Maddie Gannon, covering everything you need to know heading into the midterms tomorrow. If you have any questions you want her to cover this evening, just send us an email at 17news@kget.com. All right, now to education news. This morning, elected officials and community leaders came together to recognize this year's Bank of America student leaders. The event takes place on the first day of their internship with the mission at Kern County. Organizers say the two Bakersfield High School juniors will not only serve their community through this paid 8-week internship, but they will gain the experience needed to be successful in the workforce through leadership training, mentorship, and work experience. And the Bakersfield community has an opportunity to bring $35 million of Transformative Climate Communities program funds to our home. Special meetings will be held for the community to review and ask questions about new community projects proposed for this TCC funding, including affordable senior housing, a new Bakersfield Senior Center facility, improved mobility, active transportation, urban greening, and possibly a community microgrid. Now you can come be part of the decision-making process tonight at 6 p.m. at the Bakersfield Senior Center, or tomorrow also at 6 p.m. at the MLK Junior Park Community Center. You can also learn much more about this at bakersfieldtc.us. The Chewies on Newstein Road is shutting down. The bar and grill wrote in a letter to its customers that the location will close coming up on June 16th to seek an opportunity at another Southwest Bakersfield location. The current spot has been in business for 28 years. The letter is saying all employees have been offered a position at one of the 3 other locations and that they look forward to seeing customers there at a new Southwest location coming up in 2023. And now to high gas prices in the headlines for months, and if it feels like it's getting worse quicker, you're right. According to the AAA national average for a gallon of regular hit a new all-time record high, 486, $5 a gallon now on the horizon for that national average. But here in California, that number sounds welcome. Our average now $6.34. We're not alone, $5 a gallon already in the rearview mirror for 9 other states.
Well, I think a lot of it is because inventories every week are getting smaller, and the market is growing more panicked over the fact that refineries are not able to keep up with demand.
Now, adding to the summer costs, Gas Buddy says the special summer blend of gasoline meant to lower emissions can drive up prices 15 cents a gallon. Another concern, if we get a major hurricane or any refinery shutdowns, that could increase costs even more. Now, it's not just the fuel for your vehicle. AAA says the average price of diesel also at a record high, which means you're likely to see a further impact on trucking across the country, rising the cost of your food, clothing, and so much more. So how does this all compare? According to AAA, as of this morning, the national average for a gallon of gas, like I mentioned, 486. Here in California, it's 634. So for us in Kern County, our average now 626. Our website tracks the lowest prices in the Bakersfield area for you, thanks to gasbuddy.com. You can see a big jump here. The lowest price we could find today, $5.57. That's at the Fast Trip on Bernard and Haley in Northeast Bakersfield. These prices do change often, so you can find the lowest price at a gas station near you at kget.com. All right, and now to the coronavirus. As we are learning, millions of COVID vaccine doses have been wasted in the United States. That's according to data from the CDC. And from December 2020 through mid-May, pharmacies, states, U.S. territories, and federal agencies discarded more than 82 million COVID vaccines. The wasted doses include some that expired on pharmacy shelves before they could be used, and others that were tossed at the end of the day when no one wanted them. Now, according to providers, declining demand, large minimum orders, multi-dose vials all make it hard to avoid waste while still offering shots to anyone who wants them. Now, in honor of Flag Day, coming up on June 14th, you can drop off your torn, worn, and faded flags here at KGET. The young Marines will then retire the flags appropriately. The first 100 retired flags will get a free replacement American flag sponsored by Accelerated Urgent Care. Just surrender those old flags here at our station on the corner of 22nd and L Streets during normal business hours. We'll be collecting the flags through Friday, June 17th.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.